Hello, friends. Welcome aboard the Round Trip Stories podcast, where we share stories of moving around the world and back again, reflecting on the lessons we've learned along the way. My name is Tracy.
And my name is Melissa, and we are so glad you're joining us for today's episode. Our guest today is Marie-Cécile Collomp, an independent education consultant originally from France. She began her expat experiences in university, then married and went abroad again with her family. Marie-Cécile speaks about her time in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, with her husband and teenagers, and the beauty of the international community there. There were camel races and falcon hospitals, but then there was also COVID. Listen in on how Marie-Cécile worked to keep good communication within her family and with her international community, even through the trials. So buckle your seatbelts and make sure your tray tables and seats are in their upright positions as part one of Marie-Cécile's round trip story gets ready for takeoff.
Hello, Marie-Cécile Collomp. Welcome to the Round Trip Stories podcast. We are thrilled to have you on as our guest today.
Thank you very much, Tracy, for welcoming me. And hello, Melissa. So nice to meet you.
Yes, it is going to be so lovely to hear your stories. So thank you so much for being with us today.
You're welcome.
So I met Marie-Cécile in China. That's where I meet a lot of people, but the whole world is in China, and then they go all over the place. So today we're actually going to talk with Marie-Cécile about her experience in the United Arab Emirates. But I knew Marie-Cécile as a fellow mom to international kids. We also did Zumba class together, and that was amazing. We were just talking about that class and music that goes along with that class. And then we were also part of a mother's prayers group too, which was very special and with international moms. So we're just so pleased that you agreed to give up your evening as you pack to move away from yet another city back to France.
Exactly.
So as we get started, Marie-Cécile, would you tell us all a little bit about yourself and your family, both your family now or your family growing up?
Okay. Absolutely. So I was born and raised in France, in a small city near Bordeaux, so in the southwest of France. And then when I was in university doing my bachelor, I had the opportunity to do an internship in California. And what was supposed to be a 3-month internship turned out into a 4 years life-changing experience.
Wow.
Hey, I didn't realize it was that long. You were here 4 years?
I worked for 2 years in the Napa Valley, and then I did my MBA in Monterey for 2 years. And so that was an amazing experience.
If I had the opportunity to spend 2 years living in Napa Valley and 2 years living in Monterey, I would take it too. Those are both beautiful places. Okay, and so then after those 4 years in California, where did you go from there?
I moved back to France thanks to the advice of my mentor during my MBA. She was a wonderful teacher from Belgium, has been living in the States for 30 years. And she was like, after 4 years, it's time for you to check back on your country, see if you like it. And if you don't, then you'll find a way to come back. But my advice would be to go back. And so I went back to France and spent quite a long time there. Met my husband in France while he was working in Japan. We took the decision to get married, started a life together. And that's when the first question about living abroad arose. As he was in Japan, the big question was, okay, am I moving to Japan or is he moving back to France? And we decided that getting married was already a big adventure and we didn't need to add the extra adventure of starting in a foreign country. So he moved back to France. But having lived abroad separately, it was always in the corner of our mind to have this experience as a family. And then finally in 2013, India was our first family adventure. So we moved to India. The kids at that time were 10, 8, and 7. And we were in Chennai, which is in the southeastern part of India. We spent, a year and a half in Chennai, and then we moved to China. In 2014, we arrived in this city that nobody heard about at that time.
At that time.
It became quite famous afterwards. So we arrived in Wuhan in 2014 and spent 4 years there. And then in 2018, we relocated to Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. We spent 3 years there. So our eldest graduated in Dubai with his IB. And when we moved back to France, we had our 2 youngest who were in the equivalent of grade 10 and grade 11. Senior year of our youngest, my husband got a job in Madrid. So for 1 year, he commuted back and forth between Aix-en-Provence and Madrid. And I joined him last September when all the kids were studying. And now we're moving again back to France.
Well, Marie-Cécile, we would love to hear about, you have so many countries that you can pick from, so thank you for focusing on the United Arab Emirates and Dubai. So please tell us a story about your initial transition and adjustment to Dubai.
To Dubai, yeah.
Uh-huh.
It was, looking back, it was very smooth. It was one of the easiest moves we've done.
Okay. I'm so happy for you.
I would say for different reasons. The first reason was that we had time to prep. The school in China was doing an amazing job helping kids transition with the raft thing, like making closure, saying thank you, doing farewell, thinking ahead. And we really applied that to our entire family.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah, it was really amazing for us to have this prep in transitioning. So we were able to close the chapter of China very well. Also, one of our closest friends / family in China was living at the same time as us. So it helped. We were like, okay, we're living together. There is not one family staying behind. We'll go to different place at the same time. And that really helped. And thinking ahead, when we moved to Dubai, I had a French friend that I met in Chennai who was also moving to Dubai.
Oh,
so
nice.
It was like a lot of, first of all, taking the time to close the chapter in China, but also looking forward to open a new one in Dubai. And I would say easy adjustment also because in Dubai you had no language barrier. Everybody speaks English. So that makes it super easy to communicate, to set up anything
I don't think I thought about the common language or the lingua franca in Dubai.
Yeah.
Because it's an international city business, lots of industry, lots of international people.
Yes.
So,
and the thing, what is very nice in Dubai is that, in a sense, English is a foreign language for everyone. Because you take the local people, their first language is Arabic. You have people from the Philippines, from India. So they speak English, but everybody has their special English, so no matter what your accent is, no matter how well or bad you speak, it's okay.
I love that.
How many people would you say in Dubai were expats that were... Because I feel like it's got to be more than your average big city in the world, that there's a higher level of...
Yes.
international.
Yeah, you're completely right, Melissa. Globally, when we were in Dubai, the ratio was about 10% local people, 90% foreigners.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's such a huge international community. So when I talk about international community, you can say everybody is an expat, but you have expats with big companies, mostly either Occidental people or some Asian people who have good position. But then you also have a lot of people coming from India, from Pakistan, from the Philippines to do like all those useful jobs, but they don't have the same security as big company provide. But they're still considered as expat and foreigners, and thanks to them, the country is running, because if all those people were not in Dubai, then it would be a disaster. The place will just stop, because you will have like no people driving, no people cleaning, not a lot of people cooking, all those like the
service industry.
Right.
And they make a huge difference. So that's how big the foreign population is in Dubai. Yeah.
So how about telling us a story about something that was difficult about living in Dubai?
What was difficult living in Dubai was, I would say, the COVID situation. We were in Dubai during COVID, and it was not the way Dubai handled the COVID situation, because for me, they handled it beautifully. But it was the fact that psychologically we were far away from our families. We were not able to go back because France did not allow people from the Middle East and Asia to arrive in France. So we had this message from our embassy saying, you are not allowed to come back to your own country. For us, that was the hardest thing.
Oh my goodness. I didn't realize that that France had made that limit.
Yeah.
I mean, by then you had lived in what? That was your fourth or
That was our third family country together. Yeah.
Right. And, if we count the U.S. for you when you were here before, but this was the first time that your home country was saying, you cannot come back.
Yeah. and that feels,
it just is unsettling.
Completely, because we dealt in all the countries we lived in with visa issues and long procedure to get all the stamps and all the papers, and you were always missing a piece of paper or a stamp or something. But then coming from your passport country, that felt really strange. Yeah.
So how long were you stuck in Dubai before you could return?
Well, we were stuck almost a year.
And so was the decision to move back to France at that point in 2021, was that in part related to COVID, or was it just going to be the time when you were going to go back anyway?
No, it was an economic reaction of my husband's company, who said, okay, post-COVID, we need to close most of the offices abroad and everybody's coming back to France.
Really? They did that?
Yeah. So it was not our decision to move back to France. It was a company decision. And but at the same time, they were super nice, because they decided that, okay, by February or March, you're coming back. And they allowed me and the kids to stay in Dubai to finish the school year, because Antoine was graduating.
But then you had a little bit of time, which is really nice.
Yes.
That it wasn't just, okay, you're leaving and immediately you had to leave.
No, exactly.
So
it was not. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm grateful for that, for you guys.
Melissa and I were recently on a podcast called Talks with a TCK Friend. Okay, but we ended up talking about COVID. And I don't know about you, but I feel like, COVID is done. Let's just not talk about it anymore. But it just keeps popping its head up, because it's a part of our history and it's influenced us until now, And so, of course, we're still going to keep talking about it. But I try to forget about it.
No, in a way, we keep the good memories of COVID. When I looked at the Dubai pictures for you, I had all those pictures during COVID, and where the kids were homeschooled, and we organized some games, and we had like Hats Day online and things that we were doing with the school online. And in a sense, like, I'm trying to have only the good memories, And there were some good times. I think it made for us it was not a blessing, but it was still wonderful things to be able to enjoy this time, the five of us being together. And when you had like families who were across country not seeing each other, in a sense, there are some good memories of it.
Yeah,
that's a good point. There are some good memories.
No, it's true. It's true.
So tell us about something that you loved about Dubai.
Well, speaking of good memories, right?
What I really loved in Dubai was really the multiculturalism, the social interaction, and the acceptance and open mind of all the people I met there. It was truly, this melting pot, but all the positive things of a melting pot, like focusing on what people have in common, what makes us human being. It's not your skin color, it's not your religion, it's not the way you dress. It's just who you are as a person and what are your values? What do you want in your life, and what do you embody as values? What you want to make of your life, and that's really what was amazing there. The people I was closest to at school were from India, from Pakistan, from Egypt, from Syria, and it was this great sorority of women who were together no matter what.
That's lovely.
So what were some of those commonalities that you had?
What we had in common were our family values, what we wanted for our kids in terms of not necessarily, okay, you need to have the best grade, you need to perform, but who are you as a person and what I want you to be as a person. I want you to be respectful. I want you to be polite. I want you to be aware of your surrounding and taking care of people. And that's when you meet people from different countries who have the same values. And at the same time, the open-mindedness of the UAE, of Dubai at that time. In France, we talk a lot about the fact that you have to respect everyone, so you just hide everything. And you don't talk about religion, you don't talk about color. Whereas in Dubai, it's the opposite. They basically celebrate every culture, every religion. At school, we celebrated, of course, all the Muslim celebration, but we celebrated Diwali, we celebrated Christmas, we celebrated Easter, we had Thanksgiving. Every nationality and every religion is recognized. So the rule is, okay, I respect you, you respect me, and we can live peacefully all together. I know it sounds a little bit naive or completely unrealistic, but that's kind of what we experienced in Dubai. I have one memory that was so surprising, and we took so many pictures of that. Around Christmas in Dubai, we had everywhere you had nativity sets in schools, in public building, and at the same time in France, which historically is a Christian country, nativity sets are not allowed anywhere in public places. And you're just like, oh my God, I have to come to a Muslim country to see nativity sets.
That is interesting.
And I found it was both ironic and at the same time both an eye-opener.
Yeah, I would have never guessed that you would see nativity scenes all over Dubai. Yeah. So in China, during Christmas, in the stores, you saw people wear Santa hats.
Yes.
Because it was like this season of sales. So I saw a lot of the secular part of Christmas be celebrated.
Yeah.
And like a sign with Santa with earrings, with bejeweled, right? There was no like faith aspect. It was all about Santa.
Yeah.
But the nativity sets in a Muslim country.
You had the sale aspect and the gifts and the Santas, but you also had the nativity sets.
And it wasn't something that was, looked down on. It was something that was accepted and
absolutely. It was in schools, you had like a whole wall covered with a printout of a nativity set.
Isn't that interesting?
There is nothing commercial behind. It's not like in a market where they will sell nativity set. It was in schools. It was in public places as decoration. You had the North Pole with Santa, but then you also had the nativity set. And that was just normal. Okay, it's okay.
It seems that our two countries, I mean, for us in the United States, one of our values starting out was the separation of church and state because we didn't want the king or government to intervene in our faith. But now, I think that we're scared to talk about it sometimes.
Yes.
And it shouldn't be the case because religion has so much to do with history. It has so much to do with where we are culturally. And teachers can teach about it. We can certainly teach about it because...
from a historical perspective.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But no, that's really interesting.
So now tell us a story about something that surprised you.
What is surprising at the beginning when you arrive in Dubai, I don't know how Dubai is perceived in the US, but in Europe, it's mostly perceived as a touristy destination with a lot of bling and a lot of money, race cars, five-star hotel. And so we arrived there and we had this kind of vision, and then I looked at different guides and different things, and you realize that there is a real life also. You have this touristy part, but then it's like when you're in Japan, you have the big avenue with all the big buildings, the shiny things, and then you turn left and you have this little street with typical houses and very local thing. And in Dubai, it's kind of the same. They are super proud and they're doing a lot to preserve their history, to communicate on their history. And you have great experience when you go just outside Dubai and you have the camel racetrack and you go see a camel race.
A camel race? That sounds thrilling.
Yeah, exactly. Or you go to the Falcon Hospital. This is one of the most amazing places. The falcon is kind of a sacred bird and they hunt with their falcon. So it's like it's not even like a dog. It's one of their own children. They own their falcon and it's part of the family. It stays in their house. It travels in business class in the plane. It's amazing. Yeah, you saw that? Exactly.
I saw a photo of a whole plane reserved for falcons and all the falcons were on the back of the seats.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my goodness.
But it's their culture is so rich and is so much more than what we can see on TV or like this surface of, this is Dubai and you just go there for a week to spend a lot of money. No, that's not the Dubai
There's
you
more
experience.
to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like everywhere, there's what's on the postcards and what's on the tourist brochures
and the Facebook.
Yes.
And then there's like the real life and the real people.
Yeah.
get closer to ending our first half of our interview with you, our part one, we want to hear a little bit about what have you learned about yourself as a result of living abroad?
Um, what I've learned about myself is really how to, I would say, communicate better and
Mm,
take, take the culture into perspective. Take the who is in front of me and how should I address them? What is my way to communicate with this type of people or this type of people without stereotyping, but just being okay, I'm French. We don't have the same way of communicating. How can I carry my message and how can I explain what I want to say without being either rude or harsh or so really paying attention to the word and the way I can express myself. And that's something that was true in the outside,
mhm,
but that also was super true in the inside as a family. And we need to make sure we have this open communication, this clear communication. Let's not be judgmental, but let's progress together. I didn't learn it in Dubai, but that's really where I realize it
mhm.
fully.
And you're right. We sometimes notice these things when we have to think about it with the people we're interacting with outside of our home. But then sometimes we realize, oh, I should practice this inside my home as
Yes.
well, not
Yes.
just with the
No,
people
absolutely.
outside.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Mhm.
it's true. It was true with our children, and it was true also with my husband. Just saying, okay, let's take a step back, and what is it you really want to say, and how do I receive it, and what does
Mhm.
it make me feel?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's something that we in France we are not raised to do so. And that's something that
Mm.
over time and really in Dubai, um, sorry, Tracy, I'm going to bring COVID again, but
Oh, it's fine. You talk about it all you want.
being like in a house, the five of us, you had to be at the same time super careful and super clear in what you were feeling, what you wanted to
Mhm.
preserve like the peace of the place.
Yeah. It's so true.
I know that, like, our family, right, is a
Mhm.
microcosm of society. Like, that's a
Yes,
basic unit of society. And what you just
absolutely.
said
Mhm.
about how I can communicate better to keep the peace,
Mhm.
I was like, now how can we apply that to the society, our communities and our societies at
Yeah.
large,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
How can we communicate better to keep the peace? Not like we're changing ourselves. We're not
No,
changing who we
we're
are.
not.
If we're
No, absolutely. Mm.
trying to meet somebody halfway,
Yeah.
but peace is valuable in our
Yeah.
homes and outside our homes.
And outside our homes. But it's those
Yeah.
things that it can be top down, but it's also like those micro initiative that okay, if you have two kids in a class that start communicating more peacefully, then it's a snowball and it will have a positive impact. I truly believe
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, the influence goes all the directions.
Yes.
Was there anything you want to add to that about what you learned about the world as a result of living abroad?
Um, yeah, it will summarize a little bit what I said earlier is no matter what all our differences are, we are so much alike. We all value positive things for our children. We all value
Mhm.
positive things for ourselves. I'm not talking money wise, but I'm more talking spiritually and
Mhm.
psychologically and to be good human being. And
Mhm.
yeah, it's really about the world, about respecting each other, respecting every religion, and just being kind and doing our best to live fully. That's really the lessons I got from Dubai.
Mm.
And it's nice to share it with both of you because in daily life in France and in a different country, you tend to forget those messages. So discussing it with both of you make it back on top.
It's good for us to hear these things over and over again from our guests too.
We love hearing the details and the local perspectives from a place, but then
Yes.
all these macro ideas, these global ideas are also really important to talk about and to remind ourselves of. Thank you, Marie-Cécile, for sharing your round-trip stories from Dubai and beyond. The United Arab Emirates was the third expat assignment for your family, so you knew what to expect. A strong send-off from the school in Wuhan and a warm welcome to the new international school community in Dubai made the landing smooth. Your family loved the open-mindedness of the melting pot, which is Dubai, where it seemed that everything was celebrated. When COVID came and France would not allow you back in, you used your quarantine with your family in Dubai to improve communication, peace, and acceptance of each other, just as you hoped your family would communicate outside the home once that was possible. So, what happened when Marie-Cécile returned to France? You'll have to make a return trip to our podcast for part 2 of Marie-Cécile's round-trip story.
Want the podcast equivalent of early boarding and first-class seating? Be sure to subscribe to this podcast in your favorite podcast app so you'll never miss an episode. And if you enjoyed this episode, would you consider sharing it with your fellow globe-trotting friends? We would love to encourage them too. We believe that sharing stories helps our understanding of the world grow larger while the distance between us grows smaller.
As this episode lands, we hope these stories have encouraged you, helped you find some more of your belongings, and made your baggage a little lighter. Thanks so much for listening, friends. We'll see you next time.